So I'll do a big steak with extra steak. And then I'll have white rice. Do spicy ackee on the side. I'll do broccoli, avocado, and hard-boiled egg, please. In the off-season, I can go anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 calories in a day. It just depends on where I'm traveling to. Whereas pre-contest, I start off at like 6,200 and then get down to like 4,300. Domestically, I can find a lot of different food companies. A lot have been really awesome to me, but internationally, it's always a little task because you have to figure out, okay, what can the hotel do for you? And can they do it round the clock? Because what if I'm jet lagged? Can they do 24-hour room service and then of what, burgers and fries? I can't have that. I need to be able to have, some chicken or steak. Off season, I'll have a cheat meal every day at some point, But a cheat meal for me isn't like pizza and burgers and stuff. Normal cheat meal would be like sushi or something. Comfortable for me is 275. 280 is a little uncomfortable. I got up to 285 one year. I believe that was in 2013, 2014. I'll never do that again.
It's all LA, so around this time of a prep, it's good to have the lean red meat if you can, because you can it takes longer to digest, but the better it is, the easier it is to digest.
All right, you guys, here we are in the kitchen. I just wanted to go over some of the meals that I am currently eating here for the contest. First off is my egg whites. I usually get about 2.5 cups. It's roughly around 60, 70 grams of protein. And I accompany that with a cup of rolled oats or a cup of Ezekiel cereal. I'll switch back and forth with these two. The cereal is a little bit different for this prep because it has almonds and stuff, and I've been trying to get in a little bit more fats, but it's so dense that it has actually more carbs per cup than the oats. Usually I have a hard time getting in carbs, but eating cereal, it's pretty simple, so I usually switch that up if my trainer wants me to get it more. So a cup of the Ezekiel cereal is usually around 75 grams of carbs, whereas a cup of the rolled oats is about 60, 64 grams. So I switch back and forth, like I said, accordingly. Next would be one of my least but yet most favorite is tilapia and yams. I do a lot of fish. I know a lot of people have been following me on Flex online, and I do a ton of fish like toward the middle throughout the end of the prep. Normally up to 5 times a day, but right now I'm only doing it once. The fish really helps with, really thinning out the skin, and it's a lighter protein, so you can actually eat there's been times where I've eaten up to a pound a day, but normally I'm getting around 12 ounces, and that's cooked weight, so roughly about 14 ounces. But with this, the yam, I started incorporating that a couple years ago during my carb up process, and I noticed that it keeps me really, really full. So I started using that just at the beginning of the diet because I noticed that the minute I start dieting, I start losing a lot of weight really fast, and this kind of keeps me, fuller longer. So especially during heavy back and leg days, I'll be eating this at least a couple times. So right now I'm doing just the egg whites and at least this meal once or twice a day. All right, going on, we have steak and rice. I'm getting in, this is just 12 ounces of cooked steak with 2 cups of white rice. I'm doing white rice right now because Honey lets me, but also it allows me to stay fuller, just like the sweet potato. Sometimes I'll actually take half of the sweet potato and half of the rice and combine them, and that just gives me a little bit of different texture and whatnot. So the steak is really good for, upping my creatine and natural growth hormones and stuff like that, but inducing more testosterone production. So I'll usually have this either before or right after I train, post-workout, after I do a shake or something, usually about 60 to 90 minutes after I do a post-workout shake. I try to get this meal in, this particular one. Usually if I'm training during the day, I usually get this about meal 3 or 4, and then I'll do it again. Right now I'm doing 2 steak meals, so it's usually the 3rd or 4th meal and then the 7th meal. And I'll do that 7th meal without any carbs. I'll just do it with veggies. And that's another thing. I don't really eat a whole lot of veggies in my diet. I probably should, but I usually don't do it a lot until I start really reducing the carbs. That's just something I've always done. But if I do have any carbs, it's usually just broccoli and red peppers. Next would be all white meat chicken, again with white rice. Chicken is obviously is very high protein. You know, I've been doing it, gosh, since I've been bodybuilding really. And obviously Redbird Farms, my sponsor, they've been so kind enough to give me an abundance of, you know, chicken every week, usually roughly about 20 pounds. So getting in 12 ounces per meal isn't tough. So it's easy on the wallet as well. But I know a lot of people are probably wondering why don't I incorporate brown rice? Well, right now, with this part of my prep, I don't really incorporate the brown rice usually until like toward the end, because it'll slow everything down and whatnot. But I like using white rice. I've just noticed that for my physique, I can metabolize it really quick, which is a blessing because sometimes brown rice gets a little boring. But I'll change it up here and there. Like I said, I can change it up I can do all brown rice. I could do like a mix where I could do like white rice and sweet potato like after I train. Just good insulin spike and all that stuff. But I play around with all these different meals throughout the prep normally. I might every now and again put in like a, you know, real extra lean turkey breast, ground turkey, but that's very rare because I don't really like it that much. I might throw like a little bit of it, like maybe 4 ounces with my egg whites just to up my protein a little bit if I'm reducing the carbs. And really the only other thing that I eat would be, I might spice things up a little bit, throw some avocado in with my fish, and do like all natural almond butter in between some of these meals, usually about 2 or 3 times a day, or just a handful of almonds 2 or 3 times a day. I actually weigh every meal. And, you know, that's really important because as a pro bodybuilder, you definitely are, you know, using a portion control system. And with that said, I use my food scale over there and I weigh everything from carbs to proteins, fats, everything. I mean, I could weigh even soup on that thing. All I need to do is just type in a code and it does it for me. But even if I lose the code, I can easily just know that I need 12 ounces of cooked weight of pretty much all my proteins. So I just cook all my meals, and then I'll just portion them out that way. The good thing about the chicken is that it's already pre-weighed, you know, it's already trimmed and weighed out for me by Redbird Farms, so I don't have a problem with that. It's just like the steak, you know, usually you can go to your, like for me, I usually go to like Whole Foods or a butcher, and I'll ask for them to cut them accordingly, but sometimes it doesn't come out right. So I just cook usually like 2 or 3 steaks at a time, and then I'll just spruce it up because there's times where I may reduce the protein because I'm increasing the carbs, or vice versa because of how I'm looking during the prep. So that's really helpful as to be able to give me a gauge as to what's going on. And it also helps my trainer, Holly Rambod, out when he'll ask, so how many grams of carbs, how many grams of protein, you know, are you weighing your food correctly? Well, I'll tell him and then he'll make the changes accordingly. So every bodybuilder or anyone really that's trying to really get gains inside and outside the gym should have a food scale. I don't care if you are trying to be a pro bodybuilder or not. Every person that wants to eat healthy should have a food scale, no matter what. And also for more details about all the meals that you've just seen and the meals that I usually have during the prep, you can look into the diet log in the DVD.